What's up guys, it's the Slick Cuber. Today, we're going to review the Weilong GTS3M. So this cube is the new cube by Moyu, and it's the third cube in the Weilong GTS line. Before the GTS3 was the GTS2, this was a very popular cube and a lot of people's mains. The GTS2 was mostly preferred by people who liked lighter, faster, snappier cubes. The GTS3 is very much like its predecessor in that regard, as this cube is also light, fast, and snappy. The first difference you'll notice about this cube is the ridges on the outside. The ridges help with grip when you're holding the cube, and it also gives it just a very unique, kinda cool feeling. There are some people who think that the ridges are really unnecessary because gripping a 3x3 was never a problem.
Like, if I had $1 for every time my cube slipped out of my hands because the pieces were too flat, I would not have $1.
But then, of course, this did just happen. So whether or not it's unnecessary is really up to you. I personally like the ridges a lot. It gives it a very unique feeling, unlike anything I've ever seen in any 3x3. The GTS3, like the GTS2, has very smooth, snappy, kinda clicky layer turns. The layers glide effortlessly over each other, and the overall cube is very fast and very responsive. There's enough flexibility in the cube so that corner cutting is not a problem. However, it does not sacrifice stability to do so. This is due to the factory magnets inside the GTS3, which help the cube retain a cube shape. The GTS3M comes in at 56mm on all sides, which is the same size as the GAN Air SM. However, on the GTS3M, these ridges feel like they add a little bit of height, which makes it feel kind of closer to maybe a 56.5 or maybe even a 57mm cube. With the new tensioning system, there's a series of grooves underneath the center cap that you can adjust by tightening or loosening with a tool that comes with the cube. It's very convenient, and it's a lot easier to change your tensions now that you don't have to worry about bringing a screwdriver with you. Let's start with things that I dislike about this cube. There are none. I really don't dislike anything about this cube. This is my new main, and it's fantastic, and I can't think of anything bad about it. I guess the size could be bad if you have smaller hands. It is a 56mm cube, but with the ridges, it actually feels almost like a 57mm cube. So if you have small hands, the large size of this cube might be a problem. Besides that, the only problem that I've had with this cube is that it was very poorly set up right out of the box. There was basically no lube on it at all. It's like other Moyu cubes where it comes completely dry. The tensions were way too loose for my liking. Just out of the box, I was very underwhelmed. However, after a quick setup, it pretty much instantly became my main. So let's go into things that I love about this cube. I love the ridges. I think it just has a very cool feeling, and I think it just feels very unique. There's no other puzzle that really feels like it. I don't feel like the ridges really help with grip that much, but I like the way they feel, so that's fine. I love the new tensioning system. I love how easy it is to change my tensions. I love how smooth yet snappy the layers are. They snap into place, and it's never not a cube shape. Another thing I love is the shades on this thing. The lighter green with the darker blue is a very nice contrast, in addition to the lighter orange with the darker red. I do most of my cubing on my couch or in my bed, and usually the only light that's on is a lamp. So low light recognition is a big deal for me because most of my solves are in low light. I find this very easy to recognize the different colors in these low light situations. I'm also a big fan of the size. I'm a cuber with larger hands, so the added size makes it very easy to do layer turns without the layer scraping against my fingers as it's turning. Now you guys know how it is. I'm going to compare this cube to all the other 3x3s on the market. I will say that the past reviews have gone on a little bit longer than I've liked, so I'm going to be a little bit quicker about it this time. I am going to do these in order from cubes that feel the most like the GTS3 to cubes that feel the least like it. So up first we have the GTS2, and there's no other cube that feels the most like the GTS3 than its predecessor. They're both very light and snappy, and the layers are very smooth and easy to turn. The plastic feels very similar between both puzzles, and the magnet strength also feels like it's pretty close. I feel like the GTS3 might have slightly stronger magnets than the GTS2, so if you didn't like the strength of the magnets in the GTS2 and you wished they were stronger, you're gonna like the GTS3. If you wish they were weaker, you might not like how strong the GTS3 magnets are. Next up is the GAN SM, and I feel like these cubes feel very similar. Both of them are really light, fast, and airy with very little effort required to actually move the layers. Both of them have very good corner cutting. Both of them are very stable because of the strong magnets that are in the layers. If you liked the GAN SM, I really think you'll like the GTS3M. Next up, we have the newly released Weilong, and we're starting to get to cubes that actually do feel kind of different. The Weilong has similar speed to the GTS3. However, the Weilong feels a little bit more smooth and a little bit less clicky, where the GTS3 has a little bit more snap to the layer turns. Next, we have the Valk 3, and now we're getting to cubes that don't really feel like the GTS3. The Valk 3 has a very stable, hollow, kind of thick feel to it. The Valk 3 has that feeling where there's kind of a drag to the turns, where there's a little bit of resistance as you turn the cube, whereas the GTS3 is pretty much completely effortless. The Valk 3, of course, also has a thing that it's famous for, and that it has a very hollow, blocky kind of feel and sound to it, whereas with the GTS3, it's less hollow and blocky and more light and snappy. I actually used the Valk 3 as my main for a very long time because I liked how stable it was. The kind of slower movements combined with the magnets in this Supernova Valk 3 made it probably the most stable cube that I had. However, the GTS3, despite being light and snappy, somehow is even more stable. I don't think the GTS3 has ever not been a cube shape unless I'm forcing it to not be a cube shape. This is probably the most stable 3x3 I own, and that's saying something. Next, we have the Valk Power M, and this cube does not really feel like the GTS3 at all. It's actually kind of interesting because this was my main for a very long time, and it has a very different feeling than the GTS3, which is probably my main now. You would think that my mains would probably all have similar feels, but in this case they don't. Like I was saying with the Valk 3, the Valk Power M has resistance to its turns, whereas with the GTS3, the layers glide effortlessly over each other. The Valk Power M kind of has that elastic feeling that some people love, other people hate. Whether you love it or hate it, this one definitely has a slower, heavier feeling than the GTS3. If you liked how slow and controllable and heavy the Valk Power M is, you're probably not going to like the GTS3M. Next up, we have the newly released YJ MGC, and the differences in feeling between these two cubes is very similar to the differences of feeling between the GTS3 and the Valk Power M. The YJ MGC has a very thick, slow, kind of controllable feeling, whereas this one has the light, snappy, crispy feeling. Pretty much everything I just said about the Valk Power M applies to the YJ MGC, but in addition to that, the MGC also has a kind of scratchy feeling. The scratchy feeling in the MGC kind of diminishes over time as you use it. As you break it in, it gets kind of smooth, but I've broken my MGC in with a lot of solves, and it still has a sort of scratchy feeling to it, which is just a very, very different feeling than the smooth, snappy feeling of the GTS3. Alright guys, so in conclusion, I love this cube. I love everything about it. I love its size, I love the ridges, I love the tensioning system, I love how effortless and yet snappy the layers are, I love how stable it is. Everything about this cube I just love. Within just a few days of getting this cube and setting it up how I like it, I broke my personal best average of 5 like 3 times. The GTS3M is definitely going to be my main 3x3 from here on forward. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. Since this is coming out when a lot of people already have theirs, let me know in the comments below how you guys feel about the GTS3. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think the ridges are unnecessary? Do you like the new tensioning system? Just let me know your opinions. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, go ahead and subscribe. Keep on cubing, have fun, stay safe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!